Amateurs blame others. Professionals accept responsibility. This is not your responsibility, but it is your problem. Take your life in your own hands, and what happens? A terrible thing, no one to blame. We are made wise not by the recollection of our past, but by the responsibility for our future. I will keep constant watch over myself and, most usefully, will put each day up for review. It is not enough that we do our best. Sometimes we must do what is required. You have no responsibility to live up to what other people think you ought to accomplish. I have no responsibility to be like they expect me to be. It's their mistake, not my failing. Mindful amongst the negligent, highly vigilant amongst the drowsy, the man of wisdom advances like a racehorse, leaving the jade behind. Quit thy childhood, my friend, and wake up. Man is condemned to be free because once thrown into the world, he is responsible for everything he does. You get what you deserve. Instead of being a good person today, you choose instead to become one tomorrow. Doctors won't make you healthy. Nutritionists won't make you slim. Teachers won't make you smart. Gurus won't make you calm. Mentors won't make you rich. Trainers won't make you fit. Ultimately, you have to take responsibility. Save yourself. Laws control the lesser man. Right conduct controls the greater one. The wisest are the most courageous because they choose to do the right thing, not the popular one. I can pardon everyone's mistakes but my own. So many things are unimportant. You're wise when you focus on the few that truly are. The responsibility is all yours. No one can stop you from being honest or straightforward. To be angry at something means you've forgotten that everything that happens is natural, that the responsibility is theirs, not yours. Why do we criticize tyrants when in fact we are much worse than they are? We have the same inclinations as they do. We just lack opportunities to act on them. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. You are not responsible for the programming you picked up in childhood. However, as an adult, you are 100% responsible for fixing it. Few things help an individual more than to place responsibility upon him and to let him know that you trust him. The single most empowering thing you can do is take responsibility for yourself 100% of the time. Character, the willingness to accept responsibility for one's own life, is the source from which self-respect springs. The highest good in life is the pursuit of the four cardinal virtues of practical wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage. The most important thing is to have a sense of responsibility, commitment, and concern for each of our fellow human beings. To live a life of honesty and integrity is a responsibility of every decent person. There is no one else to blame. The leader must acknowledge mistakes and admit failures, take ownership of them, and develop a plan to win. The best years of your life are the ones in which you decide your problems are your own. You do not blame them on your mother, the ecology, or the president. You realize that you control your own destiny. I believe that every right implies a responsibility, every opportunity, an obligation, every possession, a duty. Responsibility to yourself means refusing to let others do your thinking, talking, and naming for you. It means learning to respect and use your own brains and instincts, hence, grappling with hard work. Don't waste life in doubts and fears. Spend yourself on the work before you, well assured that the right performance of this hour's duties will be the best preparation for the hours and ages that will follow it. One of the most freeing thoughts you'll ever have: no one is coming to save me. No one feels sorry for me. I am responsible for helping myself. Life gets easier when you don't blame other people and focus on what you can control. Remember always that you not only have the right to be an individual, you have an obligation to be one. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. If something is broken, it's your responsibility to fix it. Liberty means responsibility. That is why most men dread it. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. You are responsible for your life. You can't keep blaming somebody else for your dysfunction. Life is really about moving on. I think of a hero as someone who understands the degree of responsibility that comes with his freedom. It is wrong and immoral to seek to escape the consequences of one's acts. Follow the 3 R's: respect for self, respect for others, responsibility for all your actions. It is the responsibility of intellectuals to speak the truth and expose lies. How few there are who have courage enough to own their faults. With freedom comes responsibility, a responsibility that can only be met by the individual. The price of greatness is responsibility. One has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Make it a point to do something every day that you don't want to do. This is the golden rule for acquiring the habit of doing your duty without pain. A man sooner or later discovers that he is the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life. A new position of responsibility will usually show a man to be a far stronger creature than was supposed. No snowflake in an avalanche ever feels responsible. What is an anarchist? One who, choosing, accepts the responsibility of choice. This I choose to do. If there is a price, this I choose to pay. If it is my death, then I choose to die. Where this takes me, there I choose to go. I choose. This I choose to do. Take ownership. No way around it. It's on you. Let deeds correspond with words. Only you can control your future. The time is always right to do right. My transformation is my responsibility. Problems get bigger when you ignore them. I am responsible for everything in my life. Is this fair? Is this the right thing to do? help yourself. No one is coming to save you. Taking responsibility is taking your power back. I am responsible for what I see. Never trouble another for what you can do yourself. When you're in victim mode, you are stuck in suffering. Responsibility, that's where the meaning in life is. Freedom and responsibility aren't given, they're taken. Take responsibility for everything that happens to you. Do what is right, not what is easy nor what is popular. Accept the terrible responsibility of life with eyes wide open. Just complaining without looking for a solution is irresponsibility. We have the responsibility to put our gifts to work. Stand up, be bold, be strong. Take the whole responsibility on your own shoulders and know that you're the creator of your own destiny. The more you progress, the more responsibility you'll have. People will count on you. You'll have new standards to reach and maintain, new difficulties to handle. Embrace it. Choose to see the good. There's nothing you can't overcome. Notice that opportunity lurks where responsibility has been abdicated. Responsibility to yourself means that you don't fall for shallow and easy solutions. It means that you refuse to sell your talents and aspirations short. You change your life when you stop blaming other people for where you are and take responsibility for where you're going. Responsibility begins with courage and ends with honor. We're all flawed heroes. Responsibility is power. Take responsibility for the consequences of your actions, and the world is yours. Some of us have great runways already built for us. If you have one, take off. But if you don't have one, realize it is your responsibility to grab a shovel and build one for yourself and for those who will follow after you. Glory is apt to follow when industry has prepared the road. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone even if you believe in something very strongly. Action springs not from thought, but from a readiness for responsibility. No one is in control of your happiness but you. Therefore, you have the power to change anything about yourself or your life that you want to change. Hold yourself accountable in all areas of your life. Do not blame anyone or anything. Do not think of yourself as a victim. Do not make excuses. Take responsibility. Taking responsibility is a recognition of the power that you see when you stop blaming people. Responsibility is done by you. It's voluntary. You can take as much of it as you want. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. At the end of the day, you're in your own stew. It is the peculiar quality of a fool to perceive the faults of others and to forget his own. What the world needs is more people who don't give a shit what the rest of society is doing and don't use the world as an excuse for their own moral failings. People who are willing to live by their own self-imposed standards and virtues because it's the right thing to do. Everyone complains about the mess, but ultimately assumes it'll be for someone else to clear it up. Taking responsibility is not an admission of guilt. The evasion of responsibility is the major cause of most people's frustrations and defeats. Accountability is hard, blame is easy. One builds trust, the other destroys it. Time gained by cutting corners is wasted by the correction. The great thought, the great concern, the great anxiety of men is to restrict, as much as possible, the limits of their own responsibility. Responsibilities like a string we can only see the middle of. Both ends are out of sight. Bad shit will happen to you, but that doesn't automatically make you a victim. The responsibility of any creator is to do the work, not judge it. Your job is to fall in love with the process, not grade the outcome. It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to do something about it. Swap your excuses for responsibility. Instead of whining about all the reasons it hasn't happened yet, own up to it. The only reason is you. Busyness is an excuse. It's a really effective way to put off the things you're too scared to do or that you don't want to do, because it shifts the responsibility away from you. When a man points a finger at someone else, he should remember that 4 of his fingers are pointing at himself. Those incapable of independence personal responsibility finds security in the masses. Own your life. Blaming others for your problems makes you a victim to yourself. You become responsible forever for what you have tamed. Face your life and yourself. The roots of inner peace come from self-awareness and self-understanding. The right thing to do and the hard thing to do are usually the same. Independence is owning the responsibility for taking care of yourself. Consensus decisions, sought and promoted by those who wish to avoid responsibility, rarely right. It's a fundamental experience that everyone has to undergo, leaving the posture of psychological dependency into self-responsibility, the basic motif of the hero journey. This is my work. I have to take full responsibility for doing it right as well as doing it wrong. Doing it wrong isn't bad, but doing it wrong and thinking you've done it right is. Your life becomes meaningful in precise proportion to the depths of the responsibility you are willing to shoulder. You have to take seriously the notion that understanding the universe is your responsibility, because the only understanding of the universe that will be useful to you is your own understanding. You can awaken each day to obligations you never chose, or you can decide now to choose them. Death may be close at hand, death may be far off. Transcend death with no thought, no idea. Do what you need to do with no regret. The smarter you get, the more you respect who you truly are. It is impossible to live the pleasant life without also living sensibly, nobly, and justly, and conversely, it is impossible to live sensibly, nobly, and justly without living pleasant. A man who procrastinates in his choosing will inevitably have his choice made for him by circumstance. Teachers won't make you clever, personal trainers won't make you fit, others won't make you happy, books won't make you rich. Where you are in life might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. No one is coming to save you. You want to be free, but accountable. Don't expect accountability from someone who lacks self-awareness. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but we rather have those because we have acted rightly. It is your responsibility to figure out how to take that pain and how to overcome that and build a happy life for yourself. The past is past, and the future is yet to come. That means the future is in your hands. The future entirely depends on the present. That realization gives you a great responsibility. Becoming responsible adults is no longer a matter of whether children hang up their pajamas or put dirty towels in the hamper, but whether they care about themselves and others, and whether they see everyday chores as related to how we treat this planet. Winners do what is right and then they feel good. Whiners want to feel good before they do what is right. Are you a winner or a whiner?